Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously.
Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And we are going to smack it up, flip it, and rub it down. Oh no, we're going somewhere that we've never gone before. You know, I love a good quote. But I have been a true student since I was very young of Stoic philosophy. I know that you're like, really, Katie? What? Yes, I know. I'm a total freaking weirdo. I really, truly believe that Stoicism is one of the best things that have helped me through the hardest times in my life. And I was thinking a lot about it doing this podcast. And I was like, I don't know, maybe this is going to go like above my girl's head and through their legs, and they're not going to understand this. But I trust that each and every one of you out there in Ambitchious Land are smarter than the average bear and is really going to understand like why I'm talking about this, because I think that we, not only as women, but as a collective society, need Stoicism and Stoic philosophy more now than we ever have in our entire lives. And to be a Stoic, it's simple. It's all about staying calm. It's all about doing the right thing, even if the right thing is the difficult thing, and ignoring what you can't control. And as we know, and we have witnessed both in our personal lives and in the outside world, most people, and this is from one of the most incredible Stoic philosophers of his time, Marcus Aurelius, who wrote a book called Meditations. He actually didn't write the book. Meditations was made into a book after someone found Marcus Aurelius's diary. And this diary was never meant to be read. But after he passed away, I don't know the whole entire story. I can't remember it. It was so long ago, but someone found his diary and then put it out as a book. And it's one of my favorite books. I listen to it constantly. I read it constantly just to bring myself back to that harmonious state that I desire deeply to live in. But Marcus Aurelius once said, most people are being jerked around like a puppet. And I truly not only feel that in my own day-to-day life, but I know that so many of you out there in Ambitchious Land, because I have really amazing, deep conversations with you, the listeners out there of this podcast. And, you know, you just feel like you just can't get your shit together. And every time that you finally get on a good tear or something, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I am going to just go over some really famous Stoic quotes from Stoics that were, before Christ was born, and even like modern day Stoics. So 2 books that I would recommend is, number 1 is Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. That's number 1. And number 2 is a great book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way, an amazing Stoic book. And then, on my socials, I always follow Stoic Instagram pages and stuff like that, so I can just get that daily inspiration of Stoicism. But I always go back to Stoicism when I am struggling. And the goal really of Stoicism is to help you find peace of mind, help you build your character, and help you build and put a new perspective on your very precious human life. Because as we all know, you only get this one time. Even if you believe in reincarnation, you only get this one time in this body with this brain and this purpose. And like I said, it's not a dress rehearsal, so you better not squander it. And I desire deeply for myself that when I die, and I don't know what happens after death, but I'm just going to create an idea in my head that when I die, my biggest fear, and I'm not a fearful person, you guys know that about me, but my biggest fear, and I think this is how I keep myself constantly moving forward, not getting distracted, keep myself pushing towards my goals and my success is, I believe, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, that when you die and you go up and you see God, God actually shows you the person who you could have been if only you tried. How heartbreaking and gut-wrenching is that, to meet the better or best version of yourself if you only just kept your head down and did the damn thing? And I don't know about you, but that sounds absolutely horrifying. And that's why I always want to keep my head on straight, and I want to surround myself with the right people and keep myself moving constantly, and always asking myself, is the thing that I'm about to do going to help me get closer to or further away to the person I desire to be? And so I want to share some quotes with you, and I have a bunch of them here written down, and I just want to go through some of them and just kind of talk about them and just inspire you to become more stoic in your daily life. Okay? So this is a great one. This is from Epictetus. And I'm not going to get into like who these people are. If you want to do your own research, you're more than welcome. But Epictetus was one of the famous Stoic philosophers that was, from Greece and Rome. And they're back in like 55 AD. It's really interesting how long these men have been around. And there's also female Stoics as well. But I'm going to just hit on these like very famous Stoics. And I'm also going to bring in some more modern day Stoics that you'd be like, really, Katie, that person's a Stoic? And it's like, yes, because it's based around this philosophy. So here's a really great one from Epictetus. And he says, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. Fuck. And I would do it too, but how many of you out there, you know what you need to do. You know who you are. You know what your purpose is, but you're constantly looking outside of yourself for that validation, right? You ask your husbands, you ask your lovers, you ask your mom and dad, you ask your friends, your coworkers. Most of those people, they don't even know how to wash their ass. And you're asking them for their 2 cents on what you should be doing with your life, when I know for a motherfucking fact that you already know what you need to be doing. I love that quote. Here's one by David Goggins. If you don't know who David Goggins is, he's a badass motherfucker. He wrote a book called Can't Hurt Me. If you've never read that book before, go and listen to it or read it as an actual book. He has great YouTube inspirational videos as well. He's a badass motherfucker. He is real crazy though. Like some of the shit he does, you're like, damn dog. But I love it. To me, it's like goal porn when you listen to people like this, success porn, where you're just like, fuck, this guy came from nothing. He ended up being like an Army Ranger. He graduated BUD/S, became a Navy SEAL, and I can't remember the other thing, but he's just like such a badass. And he says, success is based off your willingness to work your ass off, no matter what obstacles are in your way. How many times, myself included, do we like hit a hard space or we hit a wall, and instead of figuring out a different way around, because everything is figure outable, we just throw in the towel and we're like, oh, it's not for me. It's just too hard. There's no way. And if you listen to Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, the obstacle is the way. It's always the thing that's the hard thing that you come up against, that if you can overcome that thing, that's your way through to greatness. It really, 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 truly is. And this is another one by Seneca, very famous Stoic philosopher. And he says, to bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. The only reason that when shit happens to us, the only reason why we get all flustered and fucked is because we are judging this thing as a misfortune. If you don't judge it as good or bad, and you just say, okay, it is what it is. Now, what do I need to do as an ambitious woman to go in and pull the things from inside to come outside, to conquer this thing, to overcome this thing? And don't judge the thing as good or bad. Just put your head down, be calm and clean cut and concise, and do the thing. That is the difference between losers and mediocre motherfuckers and HBICs. Bottom fucking line. I love Robert Greene. He's an amazing modern Stoic. And he says, too many people believe that everything must be pleasurable in life. Dude, no truer words have ever been spoken. I was talking to a client the other day and she was saying like how she's just like, I just want to be happy. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like if you're happy 24/7, first of all, whatever drugs you're taking, send them over my way, A. And B, like you have a mental illness. I'm sorry. If you're always fucking happy, you're crazy. Happiness and joy come in these little fleeting moments throughout the day. And sometimes you may not have one fleeting moment of joy or happiness unless you're actually looking for it. When I'm having a bad day, sometimes like I'll just go outside in my garden and I'll just watch the bees like pollinating the flowers on like my summer squash. Or I will, go outside and I will watch the pollinators on my lavender just buzzing around doing their work, and I'll smell the flowers and I'll let some sun be on my face. And I create the fleeting small moments of joy and happiness in my own life. If you are leaning on everyone else and everything else for your happiness and your joy and your pleasure, you are going to be a disgruntled bridge troll. That's just the bottom line. So not everything is pleasurable in life, and most things that are the hardest and the least pleasurable things in life actually open the door for the greatest expansion of your ambitious life. It's so true. Here's another one from Naval Ravikant, who is a modern day Stoic as well. A rational person can find peace by cultivating indifference to things outside of their control. Think of that. How many things a day are we in control of? Not a lot. The only things that we can control are the things that we can control. Katie, you ask, what are some things that we can control? We can control who we surround ourselves with, what we choose to do with our purpose and our time and our work, when we go to sleep, what we put into our mouths, both food and drink, right? We control if we move our bodies, if we exercise. We control our focus. We can control our circumstances in our home, right? Most of us, like I can control, like, is my house clean? Is it in order? How do I feel about where I'm living? We can control our finances, right? You can control like how much you're spending and how much you're making. But other than that, there's nothing else in our control. If we're driving down the street and someone wants to be drunk and drive their car into our car, is that our fault? I mean, I guess it's your fault if you're driving at that time of day or you're in your car in general, but I'm being like more serious about this. If someone is a drunk driver and they don't give two fucks about their lives and they want to drive drunk and smash into your car, you cannot control it, but you can control how you walk away from that car accident and what you do after it, right? You can't control what's happening in the world politically. You can't control what the Kardashians are doing every day. But I think that what happens is we get so hell-bent on trying to control the uncontrollable that the things that are the simplest things in our lives to control, like all the things that I just mentioned, we let those things fall by the wayside and we focus on the wrong things. And that, my friend, my ambitious friend, is not going to give us the life that we desire. It's just not. It's just not. Okay. This one is by Conor McGregor. You guys know Conor McGregor, right? He's a UFC fighter from Ireland. He's a badass motherfucker. And he says, the more you seek the uncomfortable, the more you will become comfortable. It is so fucking true. Nothing good. Go back to all my podcasts about comfort zones. Nothing good comes from a comfort zone. Zero. The things that are going to change your life and make you level up and make you more powerful than you ever could imagine are going to be the shittiest, most difficult, uncomfortable situations. Right now, as I am recording this podcast, I'm on day 2 of a 48-hour fast because I'm doing my signature program on my Ambitchious app, A28P, and I've been doing it for 9 days. Okay, so by the time you hear this podcast, I'm going to be a hell of a lot ahead of time. But right now, I'm at day 9. I've already released 13 pounds in 9 days. How? Doing uncomfortable shit, working out every day, drinking a gallon of water, getting 10,000 steps, eating a certain way, fasting a certain way, sleeping 8 hours a night, right? Staying focused on what I'm doing. And then obviously A28P is not a weight loss protocol. It is a full body transformation, mind, body, spirit, energy, the whole 9 yards, mentally, psychologically, the whole 9. So I feel on point. I'm so focused. I feel so strong and I feel so proud of myself. When you feel all those things, even though like I'm fucking hungry, I want to eat really bad, but I'm excited because I get to eat a delicious meal later on when I break my fast, right? So my bone broth is upstairs cooking on the stove right now. I'm so excited. But I know that if I desire for people to listen to what I teach and what I preach, I have to not only talk shit, but I have to walk the walk and I have to embody what I'm putting out there to the world. And that's why I said, fuck it, I'm doing A2AP. I don't care if it takes me 3 rounds to get to my goal. That's what I'm going to do. And I hope that you guys follow my journey, whether it's on the Ambitchious app or on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever you check me out. But it's true. The more you seek the uncomfortable, the more comfortable your life becomes. And it's so true. So true. Viktor Frankl, he's modern-ish. He was in like the 1930s and 40s. He was actually in a concentration camp in Auschwitz. And he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. It's one of my favorite books in the whole entire world. If you want like a really inspirational book, read that book. It's awesome. But he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. What does that mean? Just because something or someone fucks with you does not mean you have to respond or give it attention. You may not want to give it instant attention. You may never want to give it attention. Sometimes the things that speak the loudest are taking your attention and your energy away from something or someone. Then you become a stoic in your own life because then you control your destiny. You control your fate. You say, this person just called me an asshole or called me a fuckface or called me a racist or fat or stupid or whatever fucking bullshit people are spewing nowadays. And you don't have to respond because you have better things to do. Like work on your goals, dreams, and aspirations and become more ambitious every day. So think about that. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And sometimes the response is zero response. It's zero response, right? Okay. Here's a good one from Marcus Aurelius, who's like the grandfather or whatever of Stoic philosophy. He says, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do. Think about that. Think about what Marcus Aurelius said. If you stopped caring about everything else in the world that does not have to do with your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, and you had all of this amazing life force energy to pour into the thing that you desire, would your life not be different? Your life would be ambitious. You would be in total control. And ambitious as the movement is a stoic movement, even though I don't talk a lot about stoicism, but it is a stoic movement. It's about you controlling everything in your life that you can control, right? You can control your spirituality, number 1, right? 6 life makers. You can control your boundaries. You can control your health and wellness. You can control your environment. You can control your relationships and you can control your money. Other than that, nothing is in your control. And you can only control the things that I just said from your point of view and your side of the fence. You cannot, like if you control relationships, you can only control how you show up in your relationships. You cannot control how the other people in your life show up. all you can do is control you. Because I know people are going to be like, how can I control my relationships, Katie? Everybody's an asshole. I didn't say that. You control how you respond and how you show up in that relationship. And if the person that is in the other side of your relationship doesn't want to show up the way that you need them to make you feel good, bye. Listen to last week's podcast about cutting off toxicity from your life, right? Okay. This is a good one too by Marcus Aurelius. We love Marcus here. He says, if it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. I mean, Jesus Christmas. What else is there? It's like, what did the Asian guy say in fucking Hangover? But did you die? It's like, no, I didn't fucking die. I'm not going to die. What's the worst thing that can happen? Probably not much. Most of the things that we think of are in our imagination are totally made up and will never, ever, 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 ever happen. Right? So if you can endure it, you can get through it, then just do it and shut the fuck up about it, because no one wants to hear a complaining negative Nelly. They just don't. And it lowers your vibrational frequency. And when your vibrational frequency is low, you're going to attract other low vibrational shitbags to yourself. So right now, if you're surrounded by fucked up circumstances and shitty people, it's because you're being fucked up and you're being a shitbag. And when you hold the mirror up to yourself and you listen to what I say and you know that I'm doing this because I love you, it's not because I'm trying to be a prick. It's because I want you. I deeply desire for you to level up and become the HBIC of your ambitious life. And the number one thing is stop fucking complaining, because no one cares and no one wants to hear it anyways. And again, it's just lowering your vibrational frequency. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I got so many good ones here. So many good ones here. All right. Ryan Holiday, he wrote The Obstacles Away. He says, the great law of nature is that it never stops. There is no end. Theo Vaughn the other day, I don't know if you guys know who Theo Vaughn is, but I fucking love him. And he goes like, life keeps laughing, keeps coming at you. Do you think like one day you're going to wake up and everything is just going to fall into place and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm a Disney princess? No. You will have adversity. You will have fear. You will have uncomfortableness till the motherfucking day you die, till you take your last breath. So stop trying to take away all those shitty feelings and just focus on being your best self, and most of the shitty feelings will fall away. Here's a great one from Epictetus, and this is something that I've been really working on in my own life with 828P and on my app is don't explain your philosophy, embody it. So many coaches, so many people in the beauty industry, because I do a lot of business coaching with people in the beauty industry, especially aesthetics and injectors and things like that. And I do coach a lot of other health and wellness coaches. And so many of these people come to me and they're like, I don't know, why I'm not making money. I don't know why I'm not getting new clients. And I'm like, because you are a bullshit artist. You're not embodying, you're talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk. And for people to take you seriously and to trust you enough to open their wallets to you and give you their money, you have to not only say the things, but you have to do the things. You have to embody the things. Period. And if everyone could just do that, the world would be a much better place. And a lot of you bitches would be rich as fuck and happy, and you'd be living your best life. Okay. This one. Oh, God. Let's see. Oh, there's so many here that I could. Oh, God, there's so many. There's so many. All right. Here's some ones about Stoicism, what it teaches you. And this is from Jonas Salzgerber. And he says, Stoicism teaches how to keep a calm and rational mind no matter what happens to you, and it helps you understand and focus on what you can control and not worry about and accept what you can't control. Bottom line. Same thing with William B. Irving. He says, Stoicism, understood properly, is a cure for a disease. The disease in question is anxiety, grief, fear, and various other negative emotions that plague humans and prevent them from experiencing a joyful existence. Is that not truer than true? And Nassim Nicholas Taleb says, a Stoic is someone who transforms fear into prudence, pain into transformation, mistakes into initiation, and desire into undertaking. So freaking true. The Dalai Lama once said, a true hero is one who conquers his own anger and hatred. It's so true. If you can conquer yourself, you can do anything. You can do anything in the world, anything. We are so busy trying to manipulate and control and conform and make people malleable for our own happiness, when fuck that noise. You just have to do that to yourself. And then everyone else will either be attracted to or repelled by your energy. And the right people will come. If you have a business and you keep attracting bad clients, it's because you are not vibrating at the place of a high enough vibrational frequency to attract the right people to you. That's just the fucking bottom line. The bottom line. Here's a great one for Seneca. I love this one from Seneca. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Think of the people in your life that you look up to and admire and listen to the most. They haven't had an easy life. They have come literally from the depths of hell, the pits of shit, from humble beginnings and so much adversity. And they let that adversity and the shit shape them into the amazing gems that they are today. So instead of saying, why me, say, try me. When things happen in your life that are not to your liking, don't judge it. Just say, okay, this is happening to me for a reason, and I am going to do my best to come out on the other side better than I was before. And if you could just do that every day, you would be so successful in all aspects of your life. Okay. This is a good one from Epictetus. I love this one. He says, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. What does that mean? In the day and age that we're all living in, we see everyone's highlight reels on social media, right? We see them on the private plane and in the new car and with the new purses and shoes and with the beautiful man on vacation. Most of it's bullshit. I see so many people that are like in Boston, because I'm a Bostonian. I see so many people like on Newbury Street and posing in front of some rich motherfucker and old man's Lamborghini and acting like it's their car. Or they are at the airport for some reason, for something, and they're pretending to get on a private jet, and they're not even getting on it. It's fucked. I see this so much. I see people posting about their amazing vacations, which I know for a fact that they fought with their husbands the whole entire time, and the food sucked, and everyone was rude, and they got pickpocketed, and it was like 107 degrees. But they look from the outside looking in on social media like they have it all together, and they don't. So that being said, be grateful for everything that you have, because God cannot send you and the universe cannot give you more if you're not even grateful for what you have now. That is one of the biggest things in people's lives that piss me off the most with my clients, is that they have no gratitude and they wonder why they can't get ahead. Every day I'm grateful for everything I have. I pray. I thank God. I thank the universe, even the smallest little things. And I think that that's why I have become so successful over the years, because it's a compounding effort. The more gratitude you have, the more God's going to send you. This is a great one from Maya Angelou, who's a female, but a lot of the things she said is very in alignment with Stoic philosophy. And she says, what you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. And if you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain. It's true. Like Viktor Frankl, when you read the book, Man's Search for Meaning, he was in a concentration camp and he was starving to death. And he was like, it was not a good scene. And he said, you know what? I can either like let myself get so low that I end up dead, because he was saying in the Man's Search for Meaning, every time a prisoner in the concentration camp like gave up hope, that was the day that they were put to death. It was almost like the guards and whoever was taking care of them and enforcing these death sentences on these people, it's like they could smell it. They could sense that they had given up. And what he said is like, I can't get out of this concentration camp right now, but I choose to live, and I choose to take this experience and learn from it, and now use this pain to power my purpose. And after he did get out of the concentration camp, he helped so many people. He wrote books. He was a psychologist, and he helped so many people with trauma after he got out of the concentration camp. So we have to choose how we're going to react to the things that happen to us. And if we don't like something, fucking change it. And if you don't want to change it, shut the fuck up about it and stop complaining about it, because that is victim mentality. And that to me is like the most low vibrational frequency thing that anyone can have. I don't want to hear you can't afford it. I don't want to hear like it's not for you. I don't want to hear it's too hard. I don't want to hear all this shit. If you desire something deeply, you will do whatever it fucking takes. And I'm going to be stoic for a second and say, have you ever seen a crackhead not have enough money for crack? No, they figure it out. They go out there and they get the fucking money for crack. You got to do the same thing, but not with crack, with your fucking goals, dreams, and aspirations. Bottom fucking line. Okay. Here's one from Seneca. He said, set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and the cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? And I love this quote right now, especially for what I'm doing, because I'm doing A28P, and I'm also doing a no spend month. Not that I can't afford anything that I desire, but sometimes a good businesswoman takes a step back and says, whoa, I am spending too much on Amazon. I'm spending too much eating out. I'm being an asshole with my finances. And again, if you are not being good with your finances, how can God send you more money if you don't even appreciate and have gratitude for the money and the things that you have now? And I think that people are always trying to get farther and farther away from having like this experience where maybe you're fasting and you're not spending money and you're not going out and you're not doing all these things. And it's like, oh my God, I would just die. But then you do it and you're like, oh my God, now I'm like richer, I'm thinner, I'm healthier, I'm happier. Why was this really that bad? No, it actually was amazing. And it has the same thing to do with this, in the same vein as like what David Goggins said, right? Uncomfortable is the gateway to comfort. And it's true. Okay, this is another one from Viktor Frankl, and he says, what is to give light must endure burning. How fucking good is that? What is to give light must endure burning. What does that mean? If you are going to be a powerful bitch, you're going to live an ambitious life. You are not going to get out of it unscathed. You're probably going to face a lot more adversity. You're probably going to go through a lot more hard, difficult experiences, but on the other side, you will become this bright light. It takes time, but it will happen. And it's true. Tim Ferriss, who wrote a book called 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Body. He also wrote a book called Tools of the Titans. I like Tim sometimes for some of his stuff, not all of his stuff. But one thing I love is he says, what we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. How many of my clients that I coach in business mentorship, they're like, I don't want to cold DM people. I don't want to voice clip people. I don't want to go live. I don't want to post on social media. I don't want to create an email list and send weekly emails. It's scary. It's too hard. It's too difficult. And I'm like, yes, but that's what's going to make you successful. That's what's going to bring you clientele. If you're a coach or you're in the service industry, if you're just sitting in your house twiddling your tits, how are people going to find what you do and be attracted to what you do and want to work with you and pay you to work with them? Doing the thing that is the most fearful thing, right? Bruce Lee, you all know Bruce Lee. He says, it is not daily increase, but daily decrease. Hack away the unessential. The closer to the source, the less wastage there is. Oh, so good. You guys know, if you've read my book, I'm an essentialist. I like to surround myself with the people and the things and the experiences that bring me the most joy. And I cut away any fetters that are going to drag me down, because the more you let go, as Buddha says, the higher that you can rise. And it's so true. We think that we need more, but we actually need less. There's a really great book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Great, amazing book. He is an awesome writer. And I'm not so much of a minimalist, but I'm more of an essentialist. And if we only curate the things that are essential in our lives become so simple, and simplicity is beauty and simplicity is joy. I know that sounds crazy. Take when you go in your closet, for example. You guys know that I'm very much an essentialist with my clothes. When you go in your closet and the closet is just bursting at the seams with shit to wear, and you cannot make an outfit because half the things don't fit you, half the things are out of date, half the things are itchy, or the thing fits weird, or you bought it in consignment, or it has a pull or a snag or a snare. That's fucked up. When I go into my fucking thing, I go, this shoes, this outfit, boom, I'm done. I never try on outfits and throw them around my room. I used to do that when I was younger. And then I was like, this is taking up so much of my goddamn time. So you want to cut everything out. That's why A28P is such an amazing thing, because every day we do so much spiritual work, but we also do a lot of essentialism work where every day I give you one task to do to help streamline your life and declutter your life. And it's just so amazing. And by the end of those 28 days, you literally have changed your whole environment because I've had you do these little tiny steps. So it's habit stacking. Habits, small habits are so much easier than trying to change everything overnight. Okay, here's another one. This is good. Zeno of Citium. He says, the reason why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth is so that we might listen more and talk less. Dude, how many fucking people just talk and talk and talk? I don't know why. They talk because they're uncomfortable. They talk because they're nervous, or they're egomaniacs or narcissists. And they don't even ask you about yourself. It's all about them. But as I'm getting older, I want to talk less and I want to listen more to people, especially people who I look up to, who are leaders, who I use as my role models and my mentors. I want them to talk to me, and I want to only ask questions. I don't really want to talk back to them because they know more than me. And it's such a beautiful thing to just humble yourself and be like, I don't know as much as this person, and I'm going to either A, they're my coach and I'm going to follow their blueprint for the success, and I'm going to take their Cliff's Note so I don't have to go through 20, 30 years of pain like they did. Or just allowing someone to speak into you instead of you always speaking. It's just I don't know. For me, it just is very liberating. Okay. Here's Rumi. Love me some Rumi. Rumi says, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? Well, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? We in this society have become so fucking soft, and we've become such pussy lalas and so fucking delulu that we think that we should never have pain, we should never have discomfort, we should never feel sad or scared or mad or angry or resentful or whatever. That's fucking life. If you don't have anything happen to you that's not fresh, then are you even a human being? Why are you trying to bubble wrap yourself and insulate yourself from all the bad things in the world when the bad things in the world is actually what propels and catapults your greatness? And so when I'm under duress and I am having adversity in my life, I actually kind of get excited about it in a weird, sick, freak way, because I'm like, oh my God, God knows that I'm ready for this challenge and I am ready for it. And I am going to go above and beyond and I'm going to evolve. Like, how dope is that? So good. Here's a good one from Socrates. Why should we pay so much attention to what the majority thinks? Listen to me right now. You want to be ambitious? You want to live your best life? Whatever the people are telling you to do, like the people, you know who those motherfuckers are. The government, the shadow government, the banks, the big pharma, the big food, the cocksucking assholes of the world. You know who they are. Whatever they tell you to do the motherfucking opposite. If they tell you to eat fake meat and be vegan, eat fucking meat. Eat fat. You'll be the healthiest that you've ever been. Okay. If they tell you to maybe get an experimental shot or a medicine that they haven't even run trials on, even though every other thing in the world has had 40 years of trials and had to be approved by the FDA over years and years and years, do the opposite. If they tell you to get a 9-to-5 job, be an entrepreneur. If they tell you to go to college, fuck that noise. One thing I will say is I wish I never went to college, and I wish I never forced, because I think Matt and I, my husband, really pushed my stepdaughter Karina into going to a business school, because we're like, she's going to have all the opportunities that we never had, and she's going to be even more amazing at business than Matt and I combined. And she ended up going to BU business school, and it was just a fucking Looney Tunes indoctrination camp that we spent $250,000 on. And, she said to me recently, I learned more from you and Daddy just watching you guys in business as entrepreneurs and hard workers than I ever did in all 4 years of my schooling at Questrom Business School at Boston University, which is one of the top five business schools in the world. Bullshit. Because all these motherfuckers that are teaching are all teaching theory. Half these people that are the teaching business have never even had their own business. They're just business theoretical douchebags, right? If they tell you to put your kids in school so they can be indoctrinated by the Rockefeller way, homeschool your kids if you can. I know you're going to come for me. You think I'm a fucking Looney Tune, but I'm saying do the opposite of what the majority is doing, and you will live a very ambitious life. A very ambitious life. Here's one by Marcus Aurelius. This is such a good quote. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Because what we do is we try to control what everyone else around us is doing, but we forget about controlling what we are. And that's the only thing at the end of the day that we can control. So let people have around you a little bit more leniency, give less fucks to what they're doing, and care more about what we're doing. Okay. Here's another one from Plato. Not Plato, the fucking clay. I'm talking about Plato, Plato. No human thing is of serious importance. I was thinking about this today, and I was doing a live coaching call on the Ambitchious app, and I was saying, in 3 generations, no one will even remember you, and no one will even have known you or heard your voice speak unless it was like a recording. So what the actual fuck is holding you back from being your best self? From doing the things that you think are crazy and obscene and mental and so out of your reach? I don't know why we're doing this to ourselves, but I really truly believe that life is a joke. I'm very much a nihilist in a lot of ways. I'm almost an absurdist, like Albert Camus, where I'm just like, this is fucking crazy. Like, think about it. We're literally in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy, spinning on this blue ball that's held in place with gravity because of the sun that is going to burn out probably, I don't know, in 1 billion years or whatever, maybe a couple 100 million. I have no fucking clue. And we're just spinning around on this big blue ball in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy, in the middle of multiverses, in the middle of a universe that we don't even know where it starts and where it ends. Are you fucking kidding me? Why do we give a fuck what people think, what they say? Why do we care so much about being canceled and not saying what we really feel and not showing up as our best selves because people might judge us and people might talk shit and they might gossip? Oh my, who gives a fuck? Stop letting this fucking shit hold you back from being a mediocre motherfucker. Voltaire says, uncertainty is an uncomfortable position, but certainty is an absurd one. It's true. You're never going to be certain about anything. Even the things that you feel most certain about, at any moment, the rug could be ripped from underneath you. And at the end of the day, all we need to do is be absurd. Say what we think, do what we feel, just show up the way that we want to, and let the chips fall where they may. That's it. there's so many more here that I could talk about, but I just wanted to just word fuck your ears today with all these quotes, just to really help you realize that none of this fucking shit matters. All that matters is you had this one precious human life, and you stood in your power, and you remember that you were a child of the Most High God, and you did all the things that you were scared to do because you knew that through the uncomfortable pain was going to become the full expression of who you were meant to be before you shuffle off this mortal coil. I hope this podcast inspired you today. I hope that you share it with everyone that you love, and maybe even the people that you don't love so much. Maybe you'll tickle their fancy a little bit. And don't forget to join the Ambitchious app for the free experience. And if you're local-ish, get your ass down to Katie Boyd's Misfit Club for some amazing classes. And head on over to kbmfc.com if you don't already get our weekly newsletter. Keep you abreast of all the things that are going on in Ambitchious Land and in Katie Boyd's Misfit Club. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious. And I'll see you next Tuesday.